So we broke the story yesterday about Nancy Reagan's passing, and I'll tell you, we came in, actually I was in yesterday, and we were working on the UFC fight and putting videos up and stories up about, you know, what Conor McGregor and Holly Holm were doing after they lost, and then we got this tip that Nancy Reagan had died, and we just hammered the telephones. I think personally, I made 100 phone calls. I literally think I made 100 phone calls. And talked to a lot of different people along the way. And it made me really think about Nancy Reagan as we were working on the story. And I got to tell you, I mean, I think she was awesome. I really think she was an amazing First Lady for a couple of reasons. One is that, you know, she was not well liked for the first couple of years during Reagan's presidency. She was almost like a Marie Antoinette figure, where people just thought she was completely out of touch, that she was worried about fine china and designer dresses when the country was in a recession. Yet she turned it around, and I think became one of the most beloved First Ladies ever, and was so fiercely loyal to him. And obviously things you've all heard, and I think all of those things are true. She's awesome. She was awesome. But my favorite story is that Nancy Reagan loved gossip. She loved gossip. And there is a story that Dominic Dunn told me. Dominic was a dear friend of mine. He is the author. He passed away, I think, 6 years ago maybe. And, you know, famous author, amazing guy, was deeply involved in the O.J. Simpson case. And Dominic was in LA, and he was having lunch at the Bel Air Hotel, which is a very fancy hotel. And he was having lunch with Hollywood Madam Heidi Fleiss. And he was working on some story. And, you know, she's the notorious madam who, you know, with Charlie Sheen was involved. It was a big deal in LA. But this is years after. I'm guessing this lunch must have been like 96. And so he takes Heidi Fleiss to lunch, and they go into the patio area, and they walk out, and they see Nancy Reagan and Betsy Bloomingdale having lunch there. And so Dominic knew Nancy and Betsy very, very well. They were very good friends. They look up and they see him with Heidi Fleiss. And the four of them stop at the table, and they kind of look at each other and acknowledge each other. And Dominic said he could just see in Nancy's eyes this kind of like excitement. And so he goes to his table, talks to Heidi for an hour or so. They finish their lunch, and Dominic walks her out and then comes back to pick something up at the table, and he starts to walk out. And as he walks out, he has to pass Nancy and Betsy's table. Nancy Reagan looks up at Dominic and just says, "Sit down and spill it." I just love that story. And he told her everything about the lunch, and she could not have been more fascinated by the stories about Heidi Fleiss, but she loved gossip. She really did. And I know Larry King has mentioned that how much she liked it as well, but she was an awesome person.